and welcome to another episode of Gamerheads. My name is Arthur Morgan. God, man, I can't believe I'm on a podcast. I never heard of that before, but yeah. So with me we have Christian,
A.K.A. Fulgan.
You're not one of those O'Driscoll boys, are you, Christian?
No, I promise I'm not.
All right, and we got Miss Blue.
Oh my gosh, Roger. I'm not doing that.
I was gonna see how long I could go with being Arthur Morgan. So.
Oh no! Don't let me stop you. You can be Arthur all recording long if you want.
Oh, my name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and I have Christian with me,
A.K.A. Fulgan,
and Blue with me,
AKA Writer's View.
So welcome to the show. You can tell I've been playing a lot of Red Dead, which is a lot of fun. So we got a large show here. We got quite a few stuff going on here. Quite a bit of stuff going on here. We'll be doing a review of Knock Knock, and then Grip, and we'll also be talking about Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle. And then we have a hot topic this week. We have what impact does boycotting a game really have on a studio? So I've been reading some people boycotting Red Dead Redemption 2 because of the fact of the studio practices and the long hours and such. So we'll talk about that. And then on the back half of the show, I interviewed Jan Markel from Sanuk Games. He's located in Singapore, so the connection the audio is a little bit rough, but it's still some really good content. So stay tuned for that. All right, so let's go into our news then. And the very first thing that I have here is from Push Square, and it has to deal with Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption 2 leaks is handled with a $1.3 million settlement. Back earlier this year, Trusted Reviews ran an article with leaked information, which they claim they got from a confidential corporate document, which spelled out the game will include first-person mode and battle royale mode. Trusted Reviews have now taken the article down, apologizing and paying the $1.3 million to the charities that two games picked out. The charities were the American Indian College Fund, the American Prairie Reserve, and the First National Development Institute. So that is pretty crazy. Yeah. It's unclear what laws were broken, but I guess the question to you all is, with this settlement, this $1.3 million settlement, what kind of precedent do you think that sets for game journalism going forward?
It's interesting. I think I read an article about why it was that they paid this exorbitant amount of money in order to kind of fly underneath Rockstar's radar on this. And I believe my understanding is that in the UK, they have certain specific laws involving this that aren't necessarily pertinent in the US, where usually the leaker would be at fault, but they leaked the leaker's documents, and in order for them to dodge the bullets, so to speak, they would have to point out who it was that leaked the documents, and that person would be fined heavily. They would probably lose their job indefinitely, and really bad things would happen to that individual. So they just kind of sidestepped all of that legal trouble, and I guess came to a mutual agreement with Rockstar to just donate a bunch of money. But that's insane. That's a lot of money for a leak. Yeah.
It's crazy. What do you think, Blue?
I don't know. As you said, it was unclear what laws were broken, and I guess Christian is shedding a little bit of light on that. But my feeling is, if there are no laws against it in places that are not the UK, then you can't stop it. Is what I would say. I was like, dare me. But
yeah.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because the fact that, that's a large amount of money, and I just think to myself, if some other I don't know, organization got their hands on confidential documentation. I don't know. Blue, you're much more a journalist than I am. Like, what point do you say, like, I shouldn't publish this? Or, ooh, this is something that I can't believe I have, and I'm going forward with this?
Well, first off, I don't know about that. Much more of a journalist thing. But I would say in the realm of video games, what does it matter so much? It's not like it's a matter of national security, so maybe I shouldn't publish this. I mean, it's a video game, and if you have people on the inside of the company that are willing to give you stuff, why not? I mean, this sounds like there has to be something else going on because it's such a huge amount of money, and it's not going to Rockstar. So I just don't know. It just is the weirdest thing. It sounds like it's much more an internal problem with Rockstar than it is with anyone else.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, nobody's even questioning that. How did these documents get out of Rockstar's hands and into, trusted reviews hands? I don't know. It's crazy. But one of the things that they mentioned in there, like I said, was the Battle Royale. Gosh, I can't talk this morning. Battle Royale
Bring back Arthur.
Mode. Yeah.
Bring back Arthur.
Battle Royale.
There you go.
Yeah. He just mumbles a bunch of stuff. Battle Royale, let me tell you. There's going to be some crazy stuff going down. But yeah, that's going to be crazy. Like, I mean, it's not shocking to me that there would be a Battle Royale mode in this game. But, even the stuff that was leaked, I'm like, okay, was it anything that's, like, really that important? The only thing that I can think of is that it ruins their marketing or their media, or their plan that they were going to do.
Does it really?
That Rockstar was going to do.
I don't see how it would.
I don't know. That's what I've been told by media people.
I don't know. It's just it just is the weirdest thing, and it feels to me like there's something else going on that nobody is talking about. That's just my conclusion on it.
Yeah.
The main thing that comes to mind that I feel would be at stake would be Trusted Review's relationship with Rockstar, because I know Kotaku has leaked tons of stuff in the past, like Assassin's Creed stuff with Ubisoft, and Fallout 4, they had a huge leak for that while that was going through development, and as a result, I believe they're still blacklisted by Bethesda because they leaked that stuff. So, I mean, maybe it's to keep their relationship up with Rockstar, but Rockstar comes out with like a game every 6 years, so I don't understand how that relationship would be worth $1.3 million.
This is what I'm saying, basically.
Yeah. The good thing is that, the charities that the money went to. So that's the highlight of this. That, the money went to some really good charities. So I was happy to see that, but that was such a weird story. I don't know. The next item that I have here is from Push Square as well. And Blizzard announced a new Diablo game, people.
Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Diablo Immortal. Coming to mobile devices. What?
Yay!
Aww.
Yeah. So this don't go over very well with a lot of people. There's a lot of articles out there. Everybody saying, some of the articles saying, settle down, people. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, so they're coming out with a mobile game. So maybe it'll come to the Switch then. Who knows?
Maybe.
Diablo 3 came to the Switch, and I downloaded that on Friday, and that's awesome.
I guess then the real question is, would you buy a mobile game if it came to the Switch? Because, of course, I think, mobile games obviously have this reputation of not being, like, real games. So even if it did come to the Switch, would you be interested in it?
I think I would be, because, it depends. If they take out some of the mobile aspects of the game out, like the loot boxes and paying for loot boxes. Although there is the game Galaxy, is that how you pronounce that game? That came up for the Switch, and that was also a mobile game. And I haven't spent a dime on that game, but I played a lot of that game, and there's a lot to do. You just, it's grindy, but I can still play the game fairly well without having to spend money on it. So, I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Maybe they won't come to the Switch, but I mean, it seems like they're taking a page out of Nintendo's playbook for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does seem like it. I think a lot of people are very angry because they were anticipating a Diablo 4 announcement because it's been 6 years since Diablo 3, and that's a decent amount of time to be.
Friday.
What? Friday?
What?
Yeah, that's Diablo 3, Friday. That's when it came out. What are you talking about?
You're funny, Roger.
Oh, you mean I'm just talking about my Switch. You mean for all the other systems? Yeah,
I was like,
right.
are you going to tell him Christian or should I?
Yeah. So yeah, I think a lot of people were anticipating a Diablo 4 announcement, and I know Jason Schreier from Kotaku tweeted something out about a lot of people being childish about it, but he also doesn't understand why Blizzard didn't at least have a little tease because it's pretty obvious that they're working on a Diablo 4, but we'll just have to wait.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm okay not completely ignoring this Diablo mobile game.
Yeah, me too. The last article that I have here is from Nintendo Life, and this made me sad that Civilization 6 on the Switch will not include online multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
It's too bad. But they will include local wireless co-op, so that's good.
Yeah, but Civ games are really long.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have like functionality to pause mid-game and then pick it back up later. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Have you ever played Civilization Online, Roger?
I have not. I don't think the last Civilization game I played was that, Revolutions or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
That was on the DS, but also came out for consoles, I think, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last one I played.
I got you.
I've never been huge into the series. I dabbled in the early days, but I could see myself looking into this one since it's coming to the Switch, but the online multiplayer doesn't, or the lack of it, doesn't bother me at all because I wouldn't use it anyway. So
Yeah, I got
Yeah. The cool thing is this is the only console that, to my knowledge, that it's coming to, the Nintendo Switch. I haven't seen anything about coming to Xbox or PlayStation, so that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you, Blue. I mean, if it didn't have, it's just weird to me that it doesn't have online. But I'm glad that they have local co-op because that would really suck if they didn't have that.
Yeah. The playing Civilization Online, I've played a lot of Civilization 5 online. It's just this crazy beast because things last like 12, 18 hours of just waiting for the turns.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that sounds thrilling.
They have it so that everyone like makes their turns at the same time. But once you get to the later game or once combat starts happening, that doesn't apply anymore. And so there's a lot of waiting for the AI to do their thing if the AI is playing. And as far as playing online on the Switch is concerned, like playing a match on battery life isn't a thing you're going to be able to do. You're going to have to be tethered to a wall outlet in addition to being tethered to a Wi-Fi connection or an internet connection if you're going to be playing online for significant periods of time. And that just kind of ignores the portability aspect of the Switch.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, you'll still have to be probably tethered to some kind of power source if you're playing local, though. Yeah. I would think. So, yeah, that's a really good point, Christian. I guess, maybe that's why they're struggling coming with consoles for the Civ games. I don't know, but
yeah, it's a great pick up and play game. Civ 6 is, so you could just play your own single player game, pop it open, do a few turns, and then just turn it off and be done for the moment.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had for news. Do either of you have anything else for news?
No, I never have any good news.
I had something.
Yeah?
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 3 got a new Tangled trailer.
That's right.
Did you see it, Blue?
I did.
Yeah? What'd you think?
Well, I think it looks awesome.
That's awesome. I'm very, very excited. I watched it and I am feeling better about the art style. I enjoy how good it looks in context of these CGI Disney movies and stuff. Because the Hercules stuff, when they showed that was kind of off to me because it looks so different in this different engine. But the CGI stuff I think is looking really good, and I'm coming around to Sora's character model. I'm kind of liking how it gels well with the CGI Disney stuff, and yeah, I'm excited.
I'm not near as picky about the art as you are. So
That's understandable.
I'm very easy to please.
That's good.
I don't know. I'm excited, I guess, but I need to play the first ones. And I played the first one a little bit, and I enjoyed it, but I haven't played anything since then. So I feel like I have to go back and play all the old games before I can enjoy the third one.
You need to get
You can get
the story so
Yeah.
far.
exactly.
The what?
The story so far. It's basically it's all 9 games on one.
Oh.
Well, actually 2 PS4 discs.
So is this better than because I saw it? I mean, I stopped at GameStop this week, and I saw that they had like 1.5 and something. They had two different games.
Yes.
Is this now something different that combines all of that? What is
Yes,
that?
it is a
Yeah?
repackaging
Okay.
of those two things. So initially there was a 1.5 plus 2.5 HD remix that had a bunch of stuff on it, and then a 2.8 final chapter prologue that had a bunch of stuff on it. And if you bought them both separately, like I did, then you would get all of the Kingdom Hearts stuff. But then they did this new thing called The Story So Far, which is just a repackaging, it sounds like. It sounds like they just reprinted those 2 discs and put them in one case and are selling it that way.
Okay. Well, that's pretty awesome. How much does that cost?
I think it's $50. Is that
40.
right, Blue? $40.
Yeah.
40? Okay.
$40
that's
for
great
9
value.
games. I did
That's
it.
a really good deal. Yeah, no kidding. That's a really good deal. I will have to look into that then. Whoa, now I'm kind of excited, guys.
You got to hurry up, Reg. You got 2 months to play
yeah.
like 300 hours of
No
Kingdom
pressure.
Hearts.
Oh gosh. That's
No
not going to
pressure.
happen. That is not going to happen.
You've got this.
Oh man. Anything else?
Mm-mm.
I had one other small thing.
Okay.
BattleNet is giving away Destiny 2 for free to PC players.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting. I feel like that's kind of like Destiny 2 is in an interesting place now where they're post first big expansion, and now they're kind of just giving it out and hoping people pay for the expansions and hope they get an audience that way. Because my understanding is that after the expansions come out, there really isn't a ton that you can do in Destiny 2, at least not post-game stuff that you can do, because they start gating stuff off based on that based on those expansions.
Oh.
But I think it's cool that they're, just giving it out for free with PlayStation Plus, for free for all PC players. And it might have been free at some point for Xbox. I'm not aware if it was or not. But it's an interesting business model, and it definitely makes financial sense if you want to get into Destiny 2 now. There was one day where I sat down and I went through like the math of how much Destiny 2 really costs, because Destiny 2 seemed attractive to me as an MMO or like a persistent online multiplayer game because there isn't a monthly subscription fee. And that's kind of what deterred me from World of Warcraft and go towards Guild Wars 2 instead, or that's what made me not get into ESO right away and wait until Tamriel Unlimited came out, because just having to pay monthly, psychologically, that doesn't gel well with me. And then I sat down and did the math of like how much it would cost to do Destiny 2 as soon as like all the things hit. And I realized that how much is WoW a month? Is it like $10 a month?
I think it's 15. Well, it was 15 last
$15
time I checked, yeah.
I gotcha. I think when I did the math last time with like a $50 big expansion and then these 2 smaller expansions that are like $15 each, that comes out to like $8-10 a month at the least. If you're buying season passes and stuff like that and getting the discount through that. So that like really changed my perspective on the price of something like Destiny 2. And now I've had no interest in it since then.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that too, that's coming free to PC, because PlayStation Plus members also got it free last month or this past month, right? I think.
That sounds right. Sometime recently.
Yeah, sometime recently. So yeah, it's an interesting marketing campaign. I feel like people that played Destiny 2, I played Destiny 2, and when I first played it, I was like, I really like this more than Destiny 1. I did not get into Destiny 1 at all. And I beat the mission or the story mode in Destiny 2, but I never played any of the expansions or anything. And then just the content that came afterwards, like, I don't know, you can't play this game on solo, and the clan that I was part of, they played for a while and they stopped playing, so it just kind of fizzled out. So yeah, that's interesting. Any other news?
Nope.
All right, then let's go into our games that we're reviewing, and then after that, then we'll go into the games we're playing. So let's start with Knock Knock. So Blue, you reviewed Knock Knock. Can you give us a brief description of what Knock Knock is?
Well, to be honest, I really wish I could.
Oh no!
So I sat down and I played Knock Knock for about 5 hours one evening, and I have no better idea at the end what is going on than I did at the beginning.
Interesting.
So basically, you play as this absolutely psychopath-looking guy. He's called the Lodger, and you are in his house, and there are 2 types of levels. There are hiding levels and there are seeking levels. So I think it's meant to be like a hide and seek type of game.
Oh.
So basically in the hiding levels, there are things in the house. Ghosts, or I think they're actually called visitors, but they're basically ghosts. And you have to survive till morning. So if there's a clock on the top left that counts down the time till morning, and if a ghost catches you, the clock goes backwards a huge chunk.
Oh.
And so if you get caught too many times, then you have to start the level over. But if you can make it till morning, then you go on to the next level. So then the seeking levels, it's basically you wake up in the house, and then it shows you there's a clock somewhere in some room in the house, and you go and find it, I guess, which I don't understand.
You find the clock?
I don't understand because they showed you where it is. So, on these levels, I spent a lot of time wandering around going, there must be something else to do. There must be something else in the house, but there's not. You go and get the clock, and then the front door opens, and then you go out the front door into the woods outside the house. And I'm not sure what you do in the woods. You can I just walked in a straight line, and I wanted to see how long it would let me walk, and it never stopped me. You can just be out there forever wandering around.
Sounds like an open world game.
And then the background never changes, nothing changes ever. You're just walking forever, and eventually, if you get lucky, you come across your house again, and then you go inside.
Oh.
I don't know. It's just, it's like, there's 2 possibilities with this game. It's either like they never tested it on somebody who didn't already know how to play, or this game is only meant for the 1% of people who think like the developers think and can figure this out, and that they don't really care if the rest of the 99% of us are just utterly, completely lost.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So Arthur Morgan can tell you what you do out in the woods. You say you go hunting, and then sometimes you go take a leak out in the woods. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Was the game scary at all? I mean, was it supposed to be scary? Is it supposed to be? I mean, it looks creepy. I mean, the screenshots I've seen look really creepy.
I think it's supposed to be scary because, there's all kinds of, the house will kind of rattle, or you'll be walking around and all of a sudden there'll be this loud banging somewhere. And then when the visitors come to the house, they kind of whisper at you. They'll be like, I know where you are.
Well, that sounds scary.
And one of them at least kind of looks like something out of Silent Hill. It's like it's got no head and it's missing a leg or something. But the game is trial and error, but it never gives you feedback on whether you've done the correct thing or not.
Oh,
yeah, and so you feel like it's giving you hints along the way. At one point, the lodger says, well, if I don't want to see something, I just don't look at it, and then it's not there. So then I think, that means if a ghost is chasing me, if I don't look at it, it won't be there, right? No.
The opposite of Mario.
No, it's there. It still
No.
catches you. And
Well,
one of the main things that you do in the game is you go around and you fix the light bulbs in every room so that you can turn them on and see what's going on. So at one point, I was in a room, I'm fixing a light bulb, and the ghost says, "Don't do this." And so I was like, okay, I won't then. What happens if I don't change light bulbs? It didn't matter. Nothing happened. Nothing was different. They still got me. So I go play the level again, and I'm fixing the light bulb, and it says, "Don't do this." And I was like, well, I'm going to do it now. And it didn't matter. Nothing changed. They still got me.
what?
I know. I was just like,
that's weird.
I don't know what's going on. And sometimes in the room, there'll be a giant eyeball that just kind of materializes. And it says, "I want to see you."
Whoa.
I was like,
Whoa.
okay. So then I went and I visited the light bulb or the eyeball. And if you touch it, it sends you to a hallway. I don't know where this is, but it's got a bunch of doors. And you can just wander in the hallway forever and just pass doors forever. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll pick a door. And then I picked a door, and the game said, nope, you have to do the level over. I was like, but what did I do wrong? I don't know. So then I did the level over. I touch the eyeball. I go to the hallway. I pick a different door. Nope, not right. Have to do it over. So then the third time I touch the eyeball. I go to the hallway. I pick a different door. This one sends me to a different hallway.
Blue, so you went through there a second time. It's quite obvious that you should have touched probably the third door, right? What did you do after that?
I don't know. I tried it where I was like, some of them are open and some of them are closed. So I tried the open doors, and that didn't work. So I tried the closed doors, and that didn't work. And so I tried like every other door, and that didn't work. And I just don't understand the purpose of it or what you're meant to do. I have no idea.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
So how did it play on the Switch, though? Did it play well on the Switch?
Yeah, it played fine. The controls are, they're really simple. You move your guy with the joystick and you compress A or B to interact with items on the screen, either like by fixing light bulbs, or you can also hide behind things in the room. And then there's the left trigger zooms out so you can see the whole house. And those are your only controls. So it translates really easy. It's a really simple game to play.
You were talking about how it didn't really have any jump scares and kind of has like more of like a weird look to it. Is that right, Blue?
Well, I mean, the art style is interesting. And so for that reason, I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to like a game that's trying to do something different. But I really wouldn't call it scary at all. There are jump scares, I guess, but they mainly come from the fact that the ghosts just kind of appear sometimes.
Oh.
Sometimes they're just right on top of you and you never had a chance to see them coming. And so it feels less a jump scare and more just kind of really unfair.
I see. You said that it's a lot of trial and error. Would you feel like just being completely lost and confused added to like the scare factor of it, or was it just so frustrating that it just took you out of it?
I would say it was frustrating. I was just frustrating the whole time because the levels don't change. You just repeat yourself the same levels essentially over and over and over and over and over with no feedback. And then at the end, I realized that I'd done something wrong the whole time, and now I could not win the game. I could not finish the game. I have to start over. And I was like, I've been fixing light bulbs for 5 hours and wandering hallways, and I just really don't feel all that motivated to start over.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how my life is. I fix light bulbs every day, like 3 or 4 hours a day, and then it's like, I just want to start. I don't want to start over doing this again. I'm just kidding. That sounds like Red Dead Redemption. Actually, what you've been playing. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that. It's not like that.
Yeah.
So what is this game genre, or what is this geared towards? Is it geared towards people that like horror genres? Is this geared towards people that like, I don't know. What is this geared towards?
Honestly, I don't even know. I just the game needs to meet you halfway. I mean, it's one thing to be mysterious and scary and make people figure it out and be difficult, but then when you just don't give them any hints at all, whether they're doing something right or not, I don't know who this game is for. I don't know the purpose of it.
Christian, do you want to talk next about Grip?
Sure. Grip is a game that comes out on Tuesday, I think, for consoles. It was in early access on Steam for a little while. And I think it might also be coming out in full fat 1.0 form on PC at the same time it comes out on consoles.
Ooh.
And it is a combat racing game. And it's a spiritual successor to PlayStation 1 combat racing games called Roll Cage. Yeah. And I've never heard of these. I'm sure there's like thousands of combat racers out there from the 90s and early 2000s that I've never heard of. But I played one growing up called Extreme G on N64. And so that's kind of where I got my feet wet in the genre. Have either of you played combat racers or anything like them?
No.
No?
Well,
I see.
Does Twisted Metal count?
Yeah, it kind of counts.
Does that? Okay, and then I played that.
There you go. So yeah, this Grip is kind of a spiritual successor to any and all combat racers that happened around the 90s and 2000s, where you're racing, you get weapons, you use the weapons on the other racers, and then you try and be the first across the finish line. I mean, it's pretty simple. But what makes Grip unique is the structure and like shape of the cars. And my understanding is they're the same as they were in Roll Cage, where the cars are like a stick with four wheels on them. And basically the wheels extend both above and below the car. So if you flip the car upside down, it can still go just fine. And which is weird. It doesn't make sense from a physics standpoint, but you just forget about it and just play the video game and have fun. And as it stands, it's a pretty fun time. It's a combat racer, so you kind of know what you're getting into. But what frustrated me about it is that it didn't take advantage of its uniqueness, because the unique cars allow you to do these really cool things and allow the tracks to do some really cool stuff with you driving on the ceiling, driving on walls, avoiding obstacles, jumping around. But only a couple of the tracks took advantage of that. And there's a bunch of other modes that aren't just racing, but I felt that every single other mode wasn't as good as the racing. And I felt like they should have just focused on the racing, focused on making really good tracks and just soaring with that and making that work really great. But I feel like they spent a little too much time on some uninteresting modes.
Yeah, I read your review, by the way. It's on Push Square. So
yeah.
Nicely done, by the way, sir.
Thank you, Roger.
So one thing that I noticed, though, there's some comments on there that people are like, oh, I loved the Roller Cage games. Do you think this is such a niche-based game that it doesn't appeal to the masses? That it would just appeal to the people that like those types of games?
That's very possible. I know that combat racing, it's seen a few games here and there throughout the years. I think there was like a Carmageddon game or something like that. That was a revival of, or spiritual successor of another combat racing series. And these pop up every now and then, but they don't get a lot of mainstream appeal. Yeah. I think a lot of the people who play these combat racing games are the people who, grew up in the 90s and 2000s playing them and really liked them and enjoyed them. Like, I love pod racers, Star Wars pod racers. So I've got a little bit of nostalgia for stuff like combat racing, but I just felt that this, like, Grip didn't feel appreciably different or unique, and it didn't feel like it brought things into the modern era sufficiently well. The controls are great. The controls are way better than you'll ever get your hands on an N64 PlayStation 1 game. But other than that, it just kind of felt like it was lacking. It lacked some kind of panache or some kind of sticking point. The way Wipeout is a very similar series because that's combat racing, but it's got this futuristic look. Everything's very consistent in style, and the speed is really fast in Wipeout. And it is here, but I just felt it kind of came off as bland because of the apocalyptic aesthetic.
So if you could pick one thing to improve the game, what would you pick?
I would pick better tracks. I feel A couple of the tracks are really great. They really take advantage of the cars. But there's just so many of them that it just continues repeating that get pretty old. And the structure of the tracks, too, is definitely a problem where there's a lot of like hilly terrain and rough terrain. And there's a lot of like ramps you can take to go off of and just like fly around, have careless fun. But you don't want to do that because that could send you careening off the course and way behind everyone else when you respawn, which is annoying. So I feel like if they would have tweaked the tracks a little bit better so that you could properly see the turns and where they're coming, as well as having more sections that took advantage of the uniqueness of the cars, that would have been awesome. I feel like playing a lot of Trackmania has broken me and how I see racing games, because Trackmania like set out to do something very specific, and it succeeded at doing that very specific thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Trackmania is really good. And when I first saw this, when I saw screenshots, that was my first thought, was like, ooh, this is like Trackmania. But it sounds like it's just so... reading your review and what you're saying now, too, it sounds like the tracks are just too open. It doesn't really tell you like where to go. It doesn't really kind of guide you without guiding you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I can understand what they were going for with those open areas because they give you a lot of opportunity for experimentation and playing around. But yeah, it kind of lacks direction. And then you end up slamming into a wall and going backwards. And you're like, oh boy, there goes this race. Got to start it all over again.
Yeah. Is there multiplayer in this game?
There is. There's local split screen and online multiplayer.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the online multiplayer works a little weird. It doesn't have a server browser, which is kind of annoying. So you can't just like see, okay, everyone that's playing online and pop into a match that way. You either create a private match to play online, or you can like set your criteria, what kind of game you want to be playing, and then it'll like try and match you with a game like that. And if it doesn't,
it's like Rocket League kind of.
Yeah. Well, Rocket League, you can just click find game 3v3 and then go.
Yeah,
this game has like a bunch of minute options. It's like, okay, how fast are the cars going to go? What kind of items do you want to use? What kind of tracks do you want to go on? What kind of cars do you want to use? And all that minutia, it confused me because I'm like, I don't know what's everyone playing right now because I'm not sure who's playing what. So it became kind of hard to find a match because of that. But it's there, and it's functional.
Huh. Crazy. So your reviews I was on Push Square then, right?
Yeah, it is pushsquare.com.
Pushsquare.com, and that's coming out on Tuesday, the game is then, right?
I think so, yeah. So stay tuned for it. It's a discounted price tag too at $30, so it's a really solid combat racer if you want to get your hands on it.
Cool. Well, thanks Christian for the review of Grip.
No problem.
So I'll go into Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle. So I reviewed that game. So this is the makers of Slayway Camp, Blue Wizard Digital. And if you played Slayway Camp, you know the premise of this game. It's a puzzle game. You play the part of Jason in this game, which is kind of fun because you're not the one that is being hunted, but you're the one that's doing the hunting. Mm-hmm. And you, for lack of a better term, you're killing these counselors, and then you have to line it up so that way the final counselor you have to kill is like in line with you so that you can do that final kill. So if you do the puzzle wrong, you won't be able to line up correctly, and then you have to rewind and start the puzzle over, or at least to the part where you left off. So if you played Slayway Camp, you get the general premise of the game. It's a really interesting and fun puzzle game. It's it's different than any other puzzle game outside of Slayway Camp that's out there right now. If you've seen any of the screenshots that I posted, you'll know what I'm talking about. So
yeah, or just go on the website.
Yeah, that's true too. It's I really enjoyed my time with it because it's just so goofy, and it makes fun of the genre, but yet it was challenging and fun and just interesting. So I liked it.
You said that it's very similar to Slayaway Camp. So other than actually having the Friday the 13th license, which seemed to be kind of the vibes that Slayaway Camp was going for, how is Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle different from Slayaway Camp?
Yeah, so it's different in the sense that in Slayaway Camp, you earn coins for different kills that you're getting, and then you can unlock different characters with the coins or unlock different weapons with the coins that you get. Mm-hmm. And then once you beat a level in Slayway Camp, then it opens up like another it's kind of interesting. They have like this shelf of movies, and they'll have like Sleightaway Camp 1 and 2, and then all of a sudden it opens up to another game, like another movie, VHS movie that's on the shelf, and it would be like, I forget some of the other ones, like Sleightaway Camp Carnival or something like that. So it was a different way of handling like how to play the game, where this one, you would get this little mask, this hockey mask, and it was called Bloodlust. And if you kill all different characters, you level up your Bloodlust. You fill up the hockey mask with blood at the end of each level, or puzzle, I should say. And if you fill it all up, then you reach a rank, a different rank, and then you can open up a crate that will give you different weapons that you can use in your puzzles that you're using. So that was different in that aspect. And then unlike the first one where you're unlocking movies, there's different levels that you're playing, and they're all unlocked for you, and you play 13 puzzles in each level, and then you have like a final boss. I don't want to call them bosses, because they're not really boss, but a final cutscene, I guess, where you're killing like for instance, you're on a cruise ship, for one example, and the final scene is you have to kill the captain. So you're killing all the crew members, and the last one you kill the captain, and it has this cutscene where they take an anchor and he hooks it into the captain and throws him overboard. And I'm like, oh my god. But what I liked about that too is that it didn't feel like, I know this came out on mobile, but it didn't feel like a mobile game. And in that aspect, I really liked the fact that it just felt like a really good puzzle game. And then the other thing that's different than Sleightaway Camp is that they have this challenge called the 13, I want to call it the 13 Daily Deaths puzzle challenge. So you can play 13 days in a row, and if you beat all 13 puzzles, then you unlock a Jason that you can use as well. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of neat as well. So they didn't have that in the first game either.
Yeah. Sounds like they took the Friday the 13th license and ran with it.
Yeah, they did. And what's cool is, like I said, there's different Jasons in the game. So each level that you play as a different Jason. And then when you beat that level, so you beat all 13 puzzles, then you can use that Jason in different puzzles too. So you can unmask Jason too, which you could do that in the Sleightaway Camp. You can unmask the creature that you're playing or the bad guy you're playing. Mm-hmm. But Jason without his mask is just not Jason. So.
Oh.
So do the different Jasons or the different weapons you get, do they affect the gameplay at all? Like add to the strategy, or they're just things to look at?
So the different Jasons don't. So that's just something to look at. But the different weapons, they don't really change the way how you play, but they change the... This is so bad, but they changed the way the cutscenes are. So for instance, one of the weapons I unlocked recently was a toilet bowl brush.
What?
I know, this is so... I'm laughing so hard because it just made me laugh. This is... So one of the death scenes... So if you put it on R, so you can put it on PG or R. So if you're on PG, he still kills the counselors, but they're not as gruesome. But I played it on R. I did try PG, and then I was just like, what happened? I forgot I turned it to PG, and I was like, what happened to all the cutscenes? Like, oh, I have it on PG. I turned it back into R, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the reason I was playing it. So one of the death scenes, and it's these cutscenes that sometimes these happen, and he grabbed the counselor and took the toilet bowl brush and shoved it out his throat and like killed him that way. And I'm like, oh my god. Another one, he shoved it through his chest and like killed him from behind with pushing the toilet bowl brush through his chest. So it's just but it's all cartoony, so it's gruesome, I'm not gonna lie, but it's just so like corny because it's all like cartoony, but that's what they were going for. Like it was supposed to be, because Jason movies are kind of corny. I mean, if you watch them, they're just corny movies, and this is, they captured that well with this.
Interesting. I know I've played a little bit of Sleightaway Camp, and I know that the gameplay involves like sliding things across like the map, where it's kind of like a sliding block puzzle in like an ice level in a video game where you slide the block and it goes all the way down until it gets stopped by something.
Yeah.
Do they introduce any new mechanics in Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle to like switch things up, or do the maps just get more complicated and bigger and more complex?
Yeah, they incorporated a couple of new things. So one of them is cats. So you can't kill a cat, and so you'll see cats in the in the puzzle, and then you have to learn how to scare them to a certain part of the puzzle so they won't get in your way of killing the counselors or the police officers.
Priorities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you have this little head. That's what I forgot to mention. You have Jason's mom's head floating up in the left-hand corner of the game. And she, before each level, not before each one, but a lot of the puzzles, she'll give you like some kind of witty comment. And one of them is like, "Don't kill the kitties, Jason. You don't want to kill them." And I'm like, okay. Because yeah, you're right. They're innocent, I guess. So there's that. And then the other one that I noticed that's different, I haven't seen it in Slayway Camp, where there's these exits. So if you if you kill a counselor or you scare a counselor and they're lined up with the exits and they run out, you lose. So you have to like stop them from exiting the puzzle. So that was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool. They switch it up.
One thing that I will mention too that's different than Slayway Camp. So in Slayway Camp, they would have where you could buy a hint or you can buy the solution to the puzzle with coin. But in this one, you don't have to use coin at all. You can just say, "Hey, Mom, I'm having a hard time with this puzzle," and she'll give you a hint. Or if you want, she'll just show you the solution. So if you're really, really stuck, she will show you the solution of how to beat the game. And it doesn't cost you any kind of coin or anything like that. Cool. The only time that she won't do that is when you're playing the 13th Deadly Puzzle game. And because the idea behind that is that you have to do it on your own to unlock that Jason.
So then, how is the difficulty? Like, do you need to use Mom a lot, or?
There was a couple times where I had to say, "Mom, show me the solution." Or I probably asked like 2 or 3 times, showing them a solution. I did ask a couple hints, and the hints will be something like, "I don't like that counselor in the top left corner. Make sure you scare them first, or make sure you kill them first." And you're like, "Okay, I get that," the other one mechanic too is that there's light switches in the game. So she might say something like, "Turn off the lights so that the counselors can't see you, and then turn it back on when you get them in the right place." And you're like, okay. So the hints are subtle enough that you can still, you can figure out like, oh, okay, I get it. But I will say, I think that playing Slayway Camp first, because I played that one as well. I think playing that one first helped me play this game because I understood like these puzzles are not straightforward. Like you might think, oh, I can just go kill this counselor right away, but a lot of times you don't want to do that. You want to like move around first and do a certain thing and kill this other counselor before killing that top one. So it's logic. It's a logic puzzle. So I wouldn't say they're terribly too hard, but they're certainly challenging enough that it makes you think.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that is it's on the Switch. It's also out for mobile devices as well, but it just came on a Switch last week, right before Halloween, so that was a great Halloween game to play, and I think it's $20. That's the other thing I was going to mention. There's 150 different puzzles in this game.
Wow.
That's a lot of puzzles
busy
for $20, so.
Jeez,
they
deal. Should just close that camp. How many deaths will it take?
Well, that's before each level too. Before each series of levels, they'll have like a newspaper that says something like, "Ghost ship is found with no counsel." Like, why are these people going on the ship to begin with? And then I don't know. But that was my very first thought too. I'm like, why are any of these people even going camping or going on this cruise when obviously it looks really scary? But it's a little bit different in regards to like the first one. The art style is much more voxelated versus, is that a word? Voxelated? It's a word now. This one's a lot more cartoony, so it's like more hand drawn. It looks more in line with, I don't want to say like completely like South Park, but it's more in line with that kind of art style.
I see. Do you like it?
I did. I liked both of them. I think I liked the pixelated or the voxelated more. The voxels a little bit more, but this one was cool too. It was a little bit more gruesome, I will say, when the deaths happened, but it was good. All right. Well, then let's go into games that we're currently playing, and I will start off if you don't mind. I know I just talked about Friday the 13th, but I want to talk about Red Dead Redemption. And I'm just going to give you Arthur Morgan's impression of what happened. So if you don't mind. So I'm playing Red Dead Redemption. So, Dutch there, old Dutch asked me to get some more money for the camp, and so I decide to go rob some guy, and I didn't want to kill him because he didn't do anything, but I lassoed him, hog-tied him, and relieved him of his goods, and I said, cut him loose and said, off your way, and he jumped me from behind. Well, then I started, punching him in the gut and stuff, and, well, that guy, I tell you, he couldn't take a punch to save his life, and he fell over and died, and some other guy came up and pulled out a gun on me and said, what the hell are you doing? And I tried to tell him, settle down, man, and he would put his gun away, so I pulled out my gun, and I shot him, and, well, his darn horse took off running, with his foot still stuck in the stirrup, and ran past a camp of people. And then they saw that happen, and then they reported me to the sheriff, and so now there's a bounty on my head.
Oh, no.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, it did. I was like, seriously, all that for $2.50? That was not worth it. That was not worth it. But yeah, I've been playing more Red Dead Redemption, and yeah, it's fun. I will say I made it to a part now. And Christian, this is what I texted you yesterday, because I know that you've been working to get your honor up. And I said, have you done this one mission yet where you had to save a gang member from jail? And you're like, yep. Yep. Literally in this mission, it was very stressful. You I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot of people that die in that mission. And if you worked really hard to make Arthur Morgan a good guy, just be prepared. He's not a good person. I'm going to say that you're not playing a good person in this game.
Yeah. Whenever I see the bad honor icon pop up, like a piece of me dies inside, and it's like instant anxiety. I'm like, no, the trophy. I might lose my chance, but I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. So that was funny. Other than Red Dead, I played a little bit of Diablo 3. Just started that on Friday. And then Christian and I and our friend Steve, that we work with, we've been taking lunches together, and we've been playing Mario Kart on our lunches.
I suck at it, though.
He lies. I have not beaten him once. So they show you like the where you rank against the people you're playing, how many wins and losses you have. And I think I'm like 0 for 53 or something like that against you.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
All it takes is one, though, Ratcher. You'll get it soon.
What CC are you guys playing?
150. Yeah, so I'm not good. Christian, you're really good at that game. I mean, I think there's a few times where you came in second place to Steve, but overall you've won every what I call matches, or the total matches, I guess.
Yeah, like the cups or something.
Yeah.
I've got some practice with Mario Kart, but Steve is quickly approaching my scores, and he's going to be clobbering me any day now. Yeah. Have you ever played much Mario Kart 8, Blue?
Oh yeah, I love Mario Kart. Yeah. It's like my thing. Do you guys play with the safe steering on?
No, I refuse.
Thank you. It's the worst thing ever.
It is.
I choose not to comment. I would not. I lose and I still have that on, and I'm not good at it.
That's because it makes it harder.
It does.
Oh, really?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because
I'll try without it. You can't
take corners as well, because it wants to put you in the center of the track when you could go to the edge of the track in order to get some more speed, stay on the inside.
Right, or if you want to come up behind a NPC car or something, and you want to cut really closely on the inside, and it goes, oh no, danger, and it takes you wide. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to try it off now. So, but we should all three of us should play some Mario Kart online. That would be fun.
That'd be
awesome. That would make me buy a Nintendo subscription.
Oh yeah, because you needed to. I forgot about that. You need a Nintendo subscription to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to make sure he gets $20 worth of Mario Kart fun every month.
Yes,
that's right.
Exactly.
I know. I wish I would have paid attention to that and bought the family plan, and I would have shared it with both of you. I just wasn't thinking next year I'll buy the family plan and share it with both of you, because you can have as many as you want on a family plan. It doesn't matter.
And they don't have to live in the same house.
Nope.
That's
interesting.
Stupid. Why doesn't the whole world just share one plan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really great idea, Blue. We need to pick one person
and we'll
share it with
all
everybody.
Throw in a penny, and then we can all share the plan.
I think it does limit you to like 5 switches.
Oh, does it?
4
Okay.
switches or something.
Okay. I didn't know that, but you don't have to live in the same household, so that is.
Yeah,
that
I
is
was
true.
like, if they're not going to limit us, then we need to break it.
Yeah, exactly. Ruin it for everybody, Blue. Ruin it for everybody.
That's why I'm here.
Oh boy.
Blue, what have you been playing?
I'm mostly playing Disgaea, trying to get through that. It's such a long game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is wearing me down.
No.
I know. The grinding, it's all it is. And I knew that going into it. And normally grinding doesn't bother me in an RPG, but this one is just like, you don't get to go anywhere or do different things. Like if you start a Final Fantasy, part of the fun is that you get to wander around and explore and find new areas and, that kind of stuff. But this is just like, it's just kind of the same thing the whole time. And
Is it a tactical RPG?
It is. And so if you're just not like absolutely enthralled, like 100% in love with that combat style to where you can just play it forever, it's probably not the game for you. And I think that I'm discovering it's not the game for me. Not through any fault of the game, but just I would like more variety.
Are you an RPG type person, Blue, would you say?
I do. I love RPGs. And,
because you love Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yeah, I love Kingdom Hearts. I love Final Fantasy, all that kind of stuff. And so, the Disgaea series is beloved for like the last, I forget how long, 15 years or something. People are still playing the very first one and continuing to level up their characters. It has such longevity for people who like this game. And so I've played some of them, but never like sat down and tried to play one all the way through. And so I was like, yes, this is going to be awesome. And it's not quite as awesome as I thought it would be. Yeah. But it's me. It's not you. It's me.
When you usually hear that, it's usually you.
Usually, but I mean, yeah. At this point, everybody should know what Disgaea is about, and I just didn't take it seriously.
Are all Disgaea games technical RPGs? I don't know if I've ever played Disgaea before.
I think so. I mean, I haven't played them all, but I think that's their gig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The spin-offs, like the Prinny one that I mentioned, that one podcast, isn't a tactical RPG, though. It's like a side-scrolling action thing.
Oh, interesting. And that you're playing that on the Switch right now, right? Is that right?
Right, exactly. I'm reviewing that for the Well-Read Mage.
Okay. Cool. Well, when you get the review finished, let us know, and then I'll share the link on our Twitter for that.
I will.
Christian, what have you been playing?
Well, I haven't been playing much other than more Red Dead Redemption 2. I've put like about 35 more hours into it since we last spoke.
So you're like at 70 hours in, aren't you?
Yep, still going. Still no end in sight. I'm only at about the end of the 3rd chapter, and I think there's 6 chapters, so I'm a little over halfway through. But the game's long. I'm still working on it. The pacing is definitely starting to pick up a bit because in the beginning of like any open world game, pretty much, I'm a little overwhelmed. Things go pretty slowly because I'm kind of learning the ropes. I'm kind of understanding how to do things a little bit better. Because when I first started, I was like sleeping every night. I was brushing my horse all the time, and I still have to brush the horse all the time. Otherwise, its health starts going down. But I was doing that even more. I was like making sure to eat all the time. And now I'm kind of getting a grasp of the cores and how to manage them properly and how I don't need to sleep all the time. And so I can actually see what nighttime looks like. And I'm kind of getting away from all that side stuff, and I'm getting into the story stuff more. And the story missions are awesome, especially when the music kicks in. I'm really surprised at how like effective the music is at making a moment feel more important or more weighty or adding more emotion to it.
Yeah,
it's really interesting in that.
And each section has their own like different music too, which I thought was pretty cool. Like you could kind of like figure out like where you're at on the map based on like what music's playing, which is kind of neat too. So
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, so I'm coming around to it. I'm enjoying it a little bit more 35 hours later, and I anticipate that I will continue enjoying it as I keep burning through those story missions and then eventually get to the more grindy stuff right after I finish the campaign. That's probably going to be the least interesting part, but so far, thumbs up.
Yeah. I'm excited about when they come out with the online, which I think is in this month, in November, right? I think they were saying
Yeah,
that.
they said sometime in November is when the beta is going to launch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that'll be fun if they let us like form our own little like posse or something like that and do missions. That'd be fun.
They're not clans,
Yeah,
they're
right.
posses.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta do the right language.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying Red Dead Redemption 2. Came around on it a little bit. And today I played through a thing called Deltarune.
Yeah.
I just finished Deltarune.
I've been hearing about that.
Yeah, I've heard about it too.
Have either of you played Undertale?
No.
Okay, so I have it. This sounds so bad because I'm sure people are gonna like say, "What?" I just couldn't get into it. I don't know. There was something about it. I just didn't appeal to me.
How long did you play it for, Roger? Like a couple hours?
Like for an hour, probably. And I was like, I don't know what's going on.
I can't believe I can't get into this RPG after an hour.
I know. That's probably really bad, right? But I know.
There's
Christian
just no
here is
depth
like,
to it.
yeah. And Christian is like, I've been playing 30 hours of Red Dead, and I'm not sure if I'm still into this yet. And then like 35 hours later, like, yeah, I get it now. I'm like, I play it for like an hour. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. What about you, Blue? Did you say you haven't played Undertale?
No, I haven't. I know that everybody says it's so amazing, but every time I look at it, the art just... And I listen to the soundtrack all the time. It's a fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah.
But I just look at the art and go, I don't feel attracted to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really unattractive, especially just like in the overworld, like moving around stuff, because that's all like really pixely. But like the character portraits and the battle stuff is usually a little bit more high res, and it's a bit more palatable because of that. But it's interesting that you say you only played the first hour of Undertale, Roger, and didn't really get into it, because it's kind of... A lot of people agree with you that the opening hour is not good. It's not very strong, because the Undertale was initially a Kickstarter project, and the first hour is kind of like the playable demo that they gave out to everyone to try. Yeah. And so everything after that first hour is kind of becomes its own experience once the journey gets going, and it becomes its own thing. Things start moving, whereas the beginning is just kind of like going through this kind of tongue-in-cheek tutorial thing.
Yeah.
But I played through Undertale right when it came out. I think it was 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago? Was it 2015? Yeah, 2015. So 3 years ago. And I loved it. I enjoyed it a lot. I remember reading stuff around the time it first came out, and they were talking about how it kind of subverted expectations. And that caused me to think it was going to be something like Frog Fractions. Have either of you played Frog Fractions?
No.
I don't
know how I missed
It would
that.
be worth looking into. Yeah, it's just a free browser game, so just like Google Frog Fractions and maybe play it for a bit to get a sense for what I'm talking about. But I was expecting something like very meta, very like just a big joke kind of. Yeah. But it's not. It gets kind of meta, but it's not this huge joke. I wasn't anticipating Undertale to be something so kind of, unique and so like genuine and very wholesome. And it was just a very enjoyable experience for me, and it's probably the game from 2015 I remember the most. And this Deltarune thing it's highly recommended that you play Undertale first, because certain things, especially the ending, will be more impactful if you do. And this game it makes more sense if you play Undertale. It's easier to understand kind of how this game works if you play through Undertale first. And it's this weird like spiritual successor thing. When you get to the end of it, it took me about 3.5-4 hours to play through. And when you get to the end, it says end of chapter 1. So it seems like there's going to be more of these episodes, or more of like, or just like this big game that Toby Fox puts out. He says that he's not close to finished with his game. I haven't delved into what that quote meant or anything, but it seems like it's going to be a while before we get the rest of whatever this Deltarune thing is. But it's like a spiritual successor to Undertale, and Toby Fox has done it again. It is fantastic. Deltarune is an incredible 3-hour experience, and it's completely free. You can download it. Just Google Deltarune, and it's probably the first thing that pops up. Give it a go. I love its sense of humor. It's straight out of Undertale. Toby Fox knows how to write some characters, write some quippy stuff. It's all kid-friendly, too, for the most part, so that's very great. You can play it in front of your kids most of the time. And there's original music for Deltarune, too, which is fantastic. The music in Undertale was great. Deltarune is just as good. He continues that consistent, fantastic soundtrack quality, and it's really great to hear. And what Deltarune does differently than Undertale is kind of the combat. It does some things different, both conceptually and mechanically, that I really liked. So I'm super excited for whatever it is Toby Fox ends up putting out next. And I think the visuals have definitely seen a slight improvement. The animations are more fluid, and there's a bit of background work and a bit of shadow work that's not something you ever would have seen in Undertale.
Yeah. Your experience with Undertale and what you've been saying, I feel like everybody that's played it has said the same thing. And I guess I just have to go back and trudge through that first hour and just play it. And that's on the Switch now too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It is.
Yeah. So I'll have to give it a shot. I will say
it's really, really good.
I will say it's funny that you said this is fun. It's okay for kids to play, or play in front of kids, I should say. This new one, because I will say Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle is not something you should play in front of kids.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know. I forgot that my kids were actually in the room. I know. I actually forgot they were in the room. I'm like, oh, hey, no, you can't be watching this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
well,
Deltarune's awesome.
Anything else, Christian?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right, then let's go into our hot topic. So our hot topic this week is it revolves around Red Dead Redemption 2 and some of the reports that came out, which I thought were debunked, but apparently maybe not. I'm not sure. But there are some people that I shouldn't say some people, that I've seen reports, or some reporters have said that they are boycotting Red Dead Redemption 2 because of the studio practices with the hours and the work conditions that people have to put into the game to get to the crunch week, as they call it, or crunch time, to get it out the door. And I guess I wanted to talk about that. What impact do you think boycotting a game has on a studio? Mm-hmm. Does it really have any impact? Does it really? I guess let's explore that. What impact do you think it has?
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Blue?
I doubt it has any impact at all. I mean, probably part of the reason they even have a crunch week is because people throw a fit if they delay it. So then you're leaving the game studio to weigh.
That's true.
Who do we piss off? Do we piss off the workers' rights people, or do we piss off the ones throwing a tantrum if we delay it? So, I mean, I don't see how it accomplishes anything. And plus, boycotts only work if you get enough people and you stick with it. It's like how every year somebody's boycotting Starbucks because they use the wrong cups at Christmas. They're not boycotting Starbucks the rest of the year. Starbucks just knows that if they just hunker down and get through the holiday nonsense, that all their customers will come back. It's a useless gesture if you're not going to see it through. And so I just don't see that video game boycotts would be any different.
Yeah. No, I see, and I agree with you. I think that it's only going to work if everybody decides that they're going to boycott the game. And if one or two people are boycotting it, I don't know how much impact that really has on the studio. I mean, the game, I think, what did they make? Like $725 million in the first weekend it launched?
Right,
or something like
exactly. Apparently the boycott really hurt them.
Yeah, exactly. And my other thought on this too, like, who are you really hurting, right? Are you hurting the game studio if you boycott a game? Or, I mean, let's just say everybody boycotted the game. Let's just say everybody boycotted the game. Do you think that you're hurting the game studio, or are you hurting the people that made the game, even though they had to work maybe long hours? I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time with that. Like, who really gets the punishment when a boycott really works?
I mean, I feel like if that happened, like everybody boycotted the game, it would probably just lead to the employees getting together and saying, "Oh, let's just come up with a release a press release that says what they want to hear. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
They would just lie and be like, here's the game, just please play it. We worked really hard.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Christian?
I think it's interesting, Blue, that you mentioned that a boycott can only work given significant enough numbers. And I feel that a boycott could potentially be effective because of a pretty recent example, only if there are enough numbers to skyrocket basically that criticism into the public perception, which definitely was the case with Star Wars Battlefront 2, where
yeah.
they had the most downvoted comment in Reddit history, or the most downvoted post in Reddit history. And that kind of permeated into public perception. I noticed, I was in a video games and learning class, and it was right at the time when Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out, and I was playing it quite a bit. I was playing quite a bit of it before they turned on the microtransactions again. And I remember talking to someone next to me about it, someone that I knew, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds cool." And then someone else, a stranger, is like, "Are you talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I hear that game sucks. It's got a bunch of bad stuff in it, doesn't it?" Because they're operating underneath the common perception, which is there's something very bad with this game, don't buy it.
Yeah.
And that was enough to scare the pants off of EA. It possibly caused Disney to intervene, and it is having ramifications on how they structure the progression in Battlefield 5.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, they're also seeing lower pre-order numbers, and it's developed by DICE, so it's possible that DICE's games may not sell as well because of what happened with Battlefront 2.
Yeah, but the thing is, isn't that interesting? The thing that people were boycotting was not how people were treated, but how the game, what they were upset about in the game. And I think, I don't know, that kind of bothers me a little bit too. I get it. I get the fact that people were really upset about that, but that's going to garner more attention than how people are treated. And I think that I don't know. I hate to say this, but maybe that's indicative of how our culture is, and that's kind of sad in my opinion.
I mean, I guess you could look at it that way. I kind of don't, though, because, I mean, it's not like we're dealing with children in sweatshops making Nike tennis shoes, you know. These are adults, and they're perfectly capable of saying, no, I'm not going to work these hours. I'm going to walk away from this job. So, you know, I don't think it has the same, I mean, I think that it's less indicative of gamers' feelings, maybe, than just, you know, they can take care of themselves, or they should be taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it also doesn't impact the consumer, where they get Red Dead Redemption 2, all they see is this wonderful game. They don't see any of the, thousands of man hours that someone put into the experience, other than just, it being another Rockstar video game that looks incredible and plays incredible. Whereas with the microtransaction stuff, the progression of a video game directly affects the person playing that video game, and it directly impacts their experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, I mean, so here's the thing, I will admit, I mean, I've participated in boycotts myself. But it was more of my personal feelings towards things, and I didn't expect anybody else to join the boycott with me, because it's not something that I was boycotting with a massive group of people. There was just there's something I don't want to get into too much, but there was a situation where I didn't agree with how the establishment of this place they did something that was not kosher, not cool in my realm of my feelings and my I don't know, my morality, I guess. So I won't go there again because of the fact of what they did. I'm not expecting anybody else not to go there. I'm not expecting anybody else to join me in my boycott, but I just feel like it's something that I stand strong about, and I'm not gonna give them my money, and I won't. But I think for me, a stronger thing that instead of boycotting could be just good journalism, right? And shining light on these kind of things and saying, hey, look this is the kind of things that are happening. And I think that could get more press coverage than people boycotting a game that that they maybe like you said, there's so many there's not that many people boycotting it, what kind of impact is that going to have? But if you can shine light on some of the practices, maybe that will change.
Well, yeah,
Totally.
there's no bigger voice, I think, that a person has than where they choose to spend their money.
Yeah.
And so it really does come down to you. And like you said, Roger, if you feel strongly enough about something that you're not going to spend your money there, then I think that's an excellent way to say so. But yeah, I mean, as far as like huge organized boycotts, you know, you might say nobody needs to buy Red Dead, and then everybody buys Red Dead, and then eventually you get jealous of listening to everybody say how great it is, and so then you buy Red Dead. I mean, you know, it's a case of put your money where your mouth is or shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Money talks.
Isn't that an AC/DC song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Is that what you're referencing there, Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wasn't quite sure if you knew AC/DC, Christian. I don't know if you're old enough to know AC/DC.
I do.
His
My dad
culture.
had a... Yeah, I am. My dad had a Iron Man soundtrack CD that was just like all AC/DC.
Yeah.
And so I've listened to that on plenty of trips to the Wisconsin Dells.
Holy crap. Is your dad my dad? I think
Yes.
they might be. No, my dad doesn't have that soundtrack.
Oh,
I don't know if my dad even seen Iron Man, to tell you the truth, but
really?
no, I don't think so. Any other final thoughts on this topic before we take a break?
No?
No.
All right, then let's do this. Let's take a break, and then when we come back, I'll have my interview with Jan Michael, so stay tuned for that. Creativity wins in this colorful freestyle scooter championship. In Crayola Scoot, more tricks means more color, and color can change the world in impossible ways. So get ready to take on Scoot Legends in a rainbow of thrilling events, or grab 3 friends for a split-screen color clash. Crayola Scoot, coming to Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC in the US on October 16th. It's time to make your mark on Scoot Park.
When the universe might be in danger, who will save the day and protect the humans? Never fear, Jedamero is here to save the day. Or, at least, Jedamero will try their best. Watch out for that building, Jedamero! Jedamero, Hero of the Universe, is a relaxing journey through the cosmos, unraveling an emotional story about a giant, indestructible robot. Rocket through a beautifully stylized procedural universe and discover the history of Jedamero while jamming to a collection of down-tempo sci-fi jams. Coming to the Nintendo Switch on October 4th and available for pre-order now. Jedamero, Hero of the Universe.
Hey, this is Roger from the Gamerheads Podcast.
And this is Mike from the Controller Throwers Podcast.
Starting the week of October 14th, you'll be able to listen to both of our shows by subscribing to one network, the Gamerheads Podcast Network.
That's right. Each Sunday, you'll be able to listen to new episodes of the Gamerheads Podcast, and each Wednesday, you'll be able to listen to new episodes of the Controller Throwers.
2 great shows under one roof.
Make sure you subscribe on Podbean at gamerheadspodcast.podbean.com, or you can subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get new episodes of your favorite podcast.
The Controller Throwers and Gamerheads, a great team up just like Bonnie and Clyde.
They both died.
Thelma and Louise.
No.
Okay, Sonny and Cher?
No, not that either.
Kim and Kanye?
Close enough.
And welcome back to Gamerheads. With me this week is Jan Michael. He is the managing director at Sanuk Games, creators behind Bombing Busters. Welcome, Jan, to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am good, thank you.
Good. I'm glad that we got a chance to meet up. I know that we had to reschedule this a couple times, but I'm glad that...
Yeah, sorry about that, yeah.
That was on my side, too. I know that we tried to get you on earlier, but I'm glad that we're able to have you on the show now.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself and Sanuk Games.
So I run Sanuk Games, which is a studio based in Bangkok, Thailand, and it's been around for 15 years. I started in 2003. Before that, in an earlier life, I was a programmer at Ubisoft in France, in Paris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just wanted to start my business at some point, not to be a programmer of my life. I mean, it was really fascinating at first, but it's also a bit narrow when you do that for years. I had the idea that relocating in a place where the cost of operation is cheaper would allow me to have at least some selling point. So I started in Thailand in 2003, so that's ages ago, and we have done a number of things that it would be too long to tell everything we've done. But in recent years, we dropped mobile development and we focused on PC and consoles because we were never successful on mobile, and we've done low to middle budget projects, some on our own and some as work for hire. Right now, we've just finished a fishing simulation game for a European publisher called Pro Fishing Simulator on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, and it's going to be out next month. So that's our biggest project so far. And Bombing Busters, in fact, is something we did earlier than that, 4 years ago. It was a much smaller thing, and it was totally on our own without a publisher behind us.
Wow. Yeah. And it's amazing to me that, with all the, some studios that are shutting down, that you guys have been around for 15 years. That's impressive.
I wouldn't manage that in France with the cost of operation, to be honest. In Thailand it's cheaper, so it could work. Although, at the time I started, the difference of cost between the East and the West was gigantic. But nowadays there's still a difference, but no longer to the same extent. So it's a bit more challenging. But we're still around. I mean, doesn't mean that we will still be around in 10 years. I mean, it's always, in a small business like this, on a very risky business sector. I mean, it can go either way. Like every 2 years, I have a near-death experiment, really. But so far, we managed. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Let's talk about the game Bombing Busters. So it clearly draws on a lot of earlier Bomberman games. What was the ultimate goal in creating the experience similar to Bomberman?
Well, I mean, it was just an opportunistic vision. It was like, okay, Bomberman hadn't been around for years. The brand first belonged to Hudson, and then Hudson filed for bankruptcy, I think, and Konami acquired it, and Konami then had other business interests to pursue, so there wasn't a Bomberman around. I guess there had been Bomberman on Wii, but not on Wii U, not on PS4, not on Xbox One. So at that time, we felt like, this is a market segment that hasn't been served for quite a long time, so why don't we go at it? At least there should be some people who long for a Bomberman game, and indeed there was. The thing that we hadn't really foreseen is that they were really longing for the brand rather than for a clone, so it was a tough sell anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that it harkened back to the original Bomberman, and there's some aspects there that were different too. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
The story mode contains a lot of quips and humor. What was the inspiration behind the dialogue and the humor in the game?
Well, at first when we developed the game, my vision was that it's an arcade game, and an arcade game doesn't really need a story. Sometimes it even gets in the way because you just want to play, and you hit the skip button basically until you play. So we had first developed it without any dialogue and story, but the early playtests gave us the feedback that it felt quite empty, so we had to make some fillers there. I mean, the setup of the game was so silly that I could not imagine writing a serious story or any story that makes any sense based on this premise. Right? So I felt like the best I could come up with was like one-liner jokes, and I filled it with that.
Yeah, that's funny. It is like I had to laugh at a lot of the different quips in the game. It's like I think you said like just silly humor. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, that's just because I didn't feel competent to do more than that, and the setting of the game wouldn't lend itself well to it anyway.
Sure. Well, I think it worked out well, so kudos to you on that.
Yeah.
With Bomberman being fairly well loved on Nintendo consoles, was a Switch port always in the works for you?
Well, the game was first released in 2014, and at that time the Switch was not even a thing. I guess
Sure.
right back then we knew Nintendo had the next console project. At the time it was called the NX. It was not really. I mean, what we had was the more immediate opportunity to release it on Wii U first, because back then it was easy to release games on Wii U with Unity. That was not so much the case on PS4 and Xbox One, so we took a long time to make the ports, but we made it anyway. The game then had its life, lease of life, and it was pretty much in the long tail for a while when we thought that, hey, that's the Switch, and we happened to have a Switch dev kit for some other reason because we had a commissioned project on it, so why don't we just build it on the Switch? And that's what we did. There's one thing about the game. At first on Wii U, when I chose to call it Bombing Bastards. That's how it was called on Wii U.
Okay.
Yeah. However, when we ported it, and on Steam as well, it was released under that name. When we ported it to PS4, Sony told us no, you can't port this name. So on PS4, I renamed it Bombing Busters just because Sony wasn't okay with the original name. On Xbox One, at first Microsoft was okay, and then they had some internal meeting or something, but just like 2 weeks ahead of the release, when everything was ready, they were like, oh, sorry, but you will have to change the name. So eventually I renamed it as well. Well, we also tried our hand at the time on mobile free-to-play versions, and in Apple was the weirdest case. In fact, first I released it on the Mac App Store as Bombing Bastards, and it wasn't a problem. Then on the iPhone App Store, submitted as Bombing Bastards, and it was approved without a problem. But then we realized after the approval that there was a blocking bug, so we wanted to submit an update. And on the update, they said, no, we cannot agree with this name. So I had a talk with them. I said, look, you have approved it already on Macintosh and once on iPhone, so can you please review that? And eventually they approved it,
Okay, that's funny. That's funny how it makes you wonder how many different people are looking at this game and saying, oh, or any kind of submissions of games, and say, oh no, this is not acceptable. Well, you just accepted this like a month ago. I don't understand.
I guess that's the limits of the process in big companies. Anyway, so on Switch, we could go either way with either name, but I felt like anyway on other consoles it's been renamed as Bombing Busters, so let's go with that. I guess the novelty of having a profanity in the name only lasts so long anyway. So
yeah, but it's funny though because when you play the game, the character says you're a or I think the robot's called Bombing Bastard. So like it's funny how can't title it that, but whatever you put in the game, I mean, yeah. Were there besides the name and such, was there any other challenges bringing Bombing Busters to the Switch?
Not really. I guess if I remember correctly, we started from the Xbox One version because it was the one that was made with the most recent version of Unity we had touched. And so, making the port for the Switch was just a matter of, I guess one of our programmers spent 2 months on that, and that was it. Plus, we did a bit of internal QA, so it was easy. One thing is that on Wii U, when we first released it, we made it a local multiplayer experience. Then on Steam, we tried our hand at making it online multiplayer, and we did so on PS4 as well. But honestly, it was a disaster because requires a lot of skills that we didn't quite have. It requires, doing it properly would require better servers than what we can put up for a small game like that. So the experience was very much underwhelming, and it led to a lot of player frustration. So when we did the Xbox One port, I was like, okay, let's drop the online multiplayer. So we may lose the business of people who wants to play online, but at least they won't be infuriated with what they get. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah, and on Switch we did it the same way.
Yeah, well, I like the fact that it has the local co-op or local player, and I think that plays really well with the Switch, and the premise behind the Switch would be able to take that anywhere. So it seems to work out really well for what the Switch has to offer. What's next for Sanuk Games? I know you mentioned the fishing simulator. What else do you have, or is there anything that you can mention right now?
Yeah, actually, so the fishing simulation game is done.
Okay.
It's going to be released next month, so we're already, it's already past us. It's in the hands of the publisher. I hope they will do a good job with it.
Yeah.
So now I have a big team to feed indeed, and I'm looking around for business opportunities. So that's why this week I have been in Paris at the Game Connection show in order to try and find opportunities. I can't tell you right now if it's successful or not because it depends on the post-show discussions. But
sure.
Anyway, one thing we've been doing, there's a board game called Mythic Battles Pantheon that's been very successful on Kickstarter. It had like $3.7 million of pledge, and it has a group of core followers that who are really passionate about it. So we got the license from those guys to port it into a video game, and we have worked on a demo already, so I showed the demo on the show. I'll probably soon make a video of it so that I can announce it to the community. And that will be our next project if we find the publisher to help us, because the ambition of the project is such that we cannot fund it entirely ourselves.
Okay. Yeah. Well. That's awesome. And when you get the demo recorded, if you share that with our Twitter feed, or share that with me, even I can put it on our Twitter feed to share that with all our followers too.
Yeah, I will do that. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much, Jan, for joining me. I'm really glad that we were able to connect, and good luck to you in the future.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, listeners, and we'll talk to you next week.